Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your support. Today I watched an interesting video on YouTube put out by Tucker Carlson titled, "Here's Why You Should Never Buy a New Car. It's Not About the Price." I'll include a link to this video in the description below. I encourage you to check it out. According to Tucker Carlson, you will lose money to depreciation. The thing is, you are going to lose a lot of money to depreciation. I'm talking about tens of thousands of dollars, depending on how long you keep that vehicle. The average new vehicle price in America is approaching $50,000. Why in the world would you ever spend that much money for a new vehicle? You could get a nice quality used vehicle for considerably less. Take my 2004 Toyota Camry that I'm driving today. I bought this car over a decade ago for $3,500. It had 185,000 miles on it at the time. Today, it has 437,000 miles on it, and I've done very little to this vehicle. I had to replace an alternator, a starter, one wheel bearing, and beyond that, it was routine maintenance, oil changes, tires, brakes, etc. It has been very, very reliable. The vehicle was pretty much fully depreciated when I bought it, and I've driven it for over a decade. And I bet I could still get close to $1,000 out of this vehicle. Everything on it works, including the air conditioning. I'm sure someone would be willing to pay me $1,000 for a vehicle that is reliable, with cruise control, an automatic transmission, and air conditioning. I put full coverage insurance on it when I bought it, and 6 months into owning it, there was a hailstorm. I had a $0 deductible on my policy. The insurance company wrote me a check for approximately $3,500 for the hail damage. Hail damage is pretty light. You really can't even notice it unless you look at it in just the right lighting. Basically, I got this car for free because of what the insurance paid me. They told me the vehicle was paid off, so they could write the check to me and I could keep it if I wanted. And that's what I did. Getting back to the Tucker Carlson video, he talked about how people lose a lot of money to interest when financing. And my friends, most people finance their new vehicles. And it's scary because a lot of these people, they don't have an emergency fund. They have very little money, if any, set aside for retirement. Some even have credit card debt. Yet, they go into debt to finance a new expensive vehicle, and they are throwing a lot of money away because of interest. It's truly unfortunate. I'm afraid far too many people get caught up in the emotional process of buying a shiny new vehicle. Many live to regret it. Many decades ago, after high school, I worked at a factory to save money for college, and I worked with a guy who wanted to purchase a new sports car. He already had a lot of debt, but he decided to go to the dealership and purchase a brand new sports car, and he took out a big loan. It was really exciting for the first couple of months, and every person at the factory was jealous of his new shiny vehicle. Well, as time went on, he had a hard time making the payments on that expensive vehicle. He ended up having to file bankruptcy down the road. It was really sad to watch that happen. A lot of people get carried away when they purchase a new vehicle. I really feel bad for folks who take on a considerable amount of debt and really end up having a payment that they can't afford. Getting back to the Tucker Carlson video, he said the fastest way for normal people to lose money is on new cars. Well, I agree. A lot of people would be better served driving something that they could pay cash for, and then the money that would ordinarily go to a vehicle payment could be invested for their future. This way, they stand a chance at being able to retire with financial security. Unfortunately, that's often not the American way. A lot of people, they want to go into debt to drive a new vehicle because, hey, that's what everybody does. And it's kind of true. You drive through the parking garage at different businesses and you'll see a lot of new vehicles. It's rare these days to see an old clunker like what I drive. A lot of people are willing to sign on the dotted line and go into debt for something they really can't afford. Getting back to the Tucker Carlson video, he said vehicles in the last 20 to 25 years have evolved to deal with government regulations and because of profit margins for the manufacturers. Unfortunately, many of these vehicles have become more prone to failure and they're more difficult to service. And I think some of you watching this video know exactly what I'm talking about. These modern high-tech vehicles, they may get better fuel mileage, they may be safer, but when you have problems with some of those electronic safety systems, it is not going to be cheap to fix. Sometimes when you have a mechanical failure, that part might be buried underneath a lot of other parts. You may have to tear half the engine apart to make a simple repair. Well, that takes a lot of time, and shop rates continue to get more expensive. Sometimes you have to remove a lot of different parts just to get to something like the starter. I don't think a lot of Americans are prepared for how expensive some of these modern high-tech vehicles are to maintain as they age. In his video, Tucker Carlson said he purchased a new Chevy truck and he was at the gas station and the vehicle told him to remain stopped because it was doing a software update. He said he couldn't believe it and he immediately sold the vehicle. He wanted nothing to do with a vehicle that wanted him to remain stopped so that it could run a software update. And I understand. And I have to wonder, do these software updates cause problems down the road? For example, Apple had been sued in the past because their software updates slowed down some of the iPhones. And they were sued for quite a bit of money because of this. Now, I'm not saying General Motors is doing this. I'm not implying that at all. But you have to wonder if some vehicle makers could decide to do something like this in the future. I mean, Apple did it, and they got away with it for a long time. And I'm sure what they had to pay out was really insignificant to being able to make some of those old phones obsolete to force people to buy new phones. I'm sure they made a lot of money doing that. I really don't want a rolling video game. I don't need any of the high-tech features in most modern vehicles. I don't need blind spot monitoring. I can turn my head and make sure there's not a vehicle that's next to me or behind me. I don't need a backup camera. I can turn my head and look behind me. I really have done just fine with an older vehicle without these types of features. I also don't need a screen. I don't need all these fancy apps. I don't need to use audio streaming services. That's just not me. I understand a lot of people want those features, and that's fine. I'm not bashing them. If they want to spend their money to purchase a high-tech vehicle with all those features, more power to them. But I think they should be prepared for how expensive it may be in the future to repair some of the systems in those vehicles should they break down. In his video, Tucker Carlson talked about John Deere and how you have to bring certain pieces of equipment to John Deere to have them serviced because they have proprietary equipment that needs to be used. My friends, I don't want to purchase a vehicle where I have to take it to the dealership to have it repaired. I want no part of that. I can fix just about everything on this 2004 Toyota Camry. I once took my vehicle to the dealership for an oil change, which by the way, I don't do anymore, but at the time I did. And they tried to talk me into getting my spark plugs changed. They wanted a crazy amount of money to do that. I went to the auto parts store, I purchased some spark plugs that were pre-gapped, and I was able to change the spark plugs in less than 30 minutes. It was a really simple job. Why would I ever want to purchase a high-tech vehicle where I have to take it to the dealership to get it repaired? I want no part of that. I'm curious what all of you think about this. Do you have an interest in buying a new expensive vehicle, or would you prefer to have an older vehicle that is easy to repair and benefit from little to no depreciation, along with cheaper insurance, cheaper registration costs, and in some cases, cheaper components? A lot of older cars have tires that are less expensive to replace. A lot of the modern vehicles have low profile tires, and those are not cheap. What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. If you would like to become a channel member, there is a link in the description beneath this video. You can read more about the different membership levels. Please also check out some of the great books I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.